Hello and welcome to the Lacey Street Studio Talks.
We're talking to the Lacey Street Studio team, who are responsible for looking after the community venue and entertaining the locals.
And I believe they are the home of all sorts of waifs and strays. First we met Albert the handyman, Beryl the cleaner, and Robert the lad. We're not quite sure what his actual job title is. So how has lockdown affected you all? Beryl?
Not too bad. Myself and my family, they've all been fine.
What about you, Robert?
It's been okay. I get a bit bored not being in work, but at least I don't have to get up ladders and clean pigeon muck.
And Albert, how has lockdown affected you?
What lockdown?
So how long have you been working at the Lacey Street Studio?
Longer than a life sentence.
Get out of it, Albert. You love it. I've been here just over 4 years now. It's been great meeting new people, making new friends. The tourists get into a bit of a state, but I soon sort that out.
Well, I'm 66 now, and I'm still on a YTS. They still call me the lad. I quite like it, though.
So what do you all do in your spare time?
I love reading, singing, even though I'm a bit of a Hilda Ogden. Music, and films. I love a good film.
You don't get spare time with this lot, but I will say I am known to MI6.
You mean the M6? Most nights you'll find me in Albert and the Grapes. I'm doing a bit of decorating in there, and he's doing a bit of directing my decorating. And I've just taken up Taekwondo, and I'm just getting into pigeon racing. Ooh.
So what's your favourite memory working here?
I remember the time that Paul Carr was on, and he brought his white horse. While he was singing, I rode it up to Vicky Park. Nobody knew, but the roses came up well that year.
Well, that was my least favourite night. Clean up all the muck. And that was just from the audience.
My favourite memory is the day I forgot my memory.
When was that?
When was that? Who are you?
Give over.
Albert, how has it been teaching Ernie?
He has a lot to learn, and it seems so do I.
That's big of you, Albert. Good to hear.
Yeah, I've got to learn what he's saying. That accent, I understand the pigeon more than him. I spoke to the manager, Catherine, and her boss, Ebony. Cath, has the lockdown affected how the Lacey Street Studio is running?
I've struggled to keep an eye on what everyone's up to. Albert isn't a fan of Zoom. He's always in a breakout room by himself, asleep.
How long have you been working here?
It's 5 years for me, but it feels like 50.
This place wouldn't be here without my sheer dedication and community spirit. I am the spirit of the Lacey Street Studio. It only stands because of my tireless work and the cheap labour I employ.
And you'll enjoy talking about that with the union. Bad time to ask for a raise.
Ebony, what is it like overseeing all that goes on at the Lacey Street Studio?
Exhausting, honestly, takes years off my life. Every day I'm expecting a cease and desist to land on my desk. After the whole Paul Cart ordeal, I fear we will be held liable for infringing Paul McCartney's identity. They don't understand. Their hijinks lands on me.
Hijinks saved this place and you were nowhere to be seen.
Changing the subject, how has Mog the cat adapted to living with the pigeons on the turf?
I do worry about the sheer number of diseases Ms. Mogg could have picked up from those dirty feathered pests. I take her twice a week to Aristo Cats for a nail clip, whisker tint, shampoo condition and fur follicle treatment. I'm doing everything I can to keep her on the straight and narrow. God forbid she becomes a witness Moggy. Doesn't bear thinking about.
Our pigeons are very open-minded. They've taken her under the wing. It's a shame the management aren't so accommodating.
We then spoke to some great theatrical characters, Shazma and Roger Montfort Wild. Shazma, how has the theatre been affected by the lockdown?
It's been just awful. Nothing is open and nobody is working. We've been active though, doing stuff on Zoom and YouTubes. I've even got my own TikTok account. It's not the same without a live audience.
Now that you're setting up a resident theatre company in the Lacey Street Studio, what events do you see coming up?
Lots of G&G. That's glitz and glamour. It gets bums on seats.
And what about you, Roger?
Well, at the moment, I'm resting. Or perhaps I should say digesting. I'm not yet sure what my next project will be. One thing is for sure, it will not be succumbing to the popular thirst for shallow commercial fodder. It may put bums on seats, but it also contrives to put more than a few on stage.
Roger, what is it about the theatre that you love?
Why do I love theatre? Why does Niagara fall? Why is a lake so eerie? I do not merely love theatre, I am theatre. Theatre is like a lake, stretching out deep, still and mysterious. I swim, live and breathe its underwater mysteries. Shazma has chosen rather the path of the carelessly flung stone that skips across the surface. My creative urge is such that it must, simply must, be released.
Still having trouble with wind, Roger?
Shazma, since starting the He's 2 Meters Behind You theatre company, have you felt more equal to Roger?
Equal? With him?
Equal. It's me that does all the work. I say Roger has a relaxed approach to responsibilities. He doesn't even make a brew.
I would just like to add...
We managed to speak to some friends of the studios, past and present, for the take on the venue. Meet Ernie, the new apprentice handyman, Paul, Cath, the performer, and misunderstood Sam, the jam man. That's the jam maker, not guitar player. It's a long story. So Ernie and Paul, you're both relatively new here. How has the Lacey Street Studio affected you?
I've been made to feel really welcome by most people, although Beryl can be a tad lukewarm. She keeps saying things like, "Oh, but wouldn't do it like that," or "It's gone down the pan since Albert left," which is a bit puzzling since Albert's still here.
And you, Paul?
I really want to perform and get on stage, but the chances haven't arrived yet. So I've mainly been on garden duty, looking after the roses, thanks to my horse Skid. Why's he called Skid? Well, Sam, because everywhere he goes, he always leaves his mark.
Paul, how has your music been affected by the lockdown and have you adapted to it?
I've been singing music for donkey's years, and this lockdown has been a right pain. I've mainly been writing songs. I wrote one called Hail Bank Hold Down, another called These Lonesome Witness Blues, and of course I wrote Cowboy Christmas.
Ernie, how has Albert been as a teacher?
Albert's been great. The first thing he showed me was the most important piece of equipment in the whole of the Lacey Street Studio, the H2O receptacle, which you need to fill up to the maximum level and wait until it lets off a high-pitched noise indicator alarm when it reaches 100 degrees centigrade.
I knew that.
Sam, you sold as much jam since the jam session incident.
I've sold tons. I've been trying out some new flavours too. Gooseberry jam, blueberry jam, and my new rock and roll jam, chuckberry jam.
The interview then took an unexpected turn, but we just went with it. Our next guests are the Lacey Street Studio ghosts, Burke and Hare. To talk to them, we have engaged with a medium, Lady Felicity, who has conducted a seance previously in the venue.
Medium? She looks like extra large to me.
Thank you, boys. Are you there, Burke and Hare?
We are here. Have no fear.
Oh, gentlemen, do you feel like you have been fully accepted into the Lacey Street Studio family?
I rather think that they've been accepted into ours. After all, as Winston Churchill put it, we were here first.
Aye, Mr. Burke. We've been here a fair bit longer than these wee lads and lasses.
Being ethereal, you must have a lot of stories about the Lacey Street Studio that no one else knows. Would you like to share one?
We have many a tale and many a story, but that's for another episode. One we don't have to share. Would you agree, Mr. Burke?
Oh, aye, Mr. Hare. We flit around and certainly we see and hear things that others do not. I can't tell you any of it, though. My memory is completely short.
Do you think it's fair that a lot of people fear ghosts? And do you have any words for the people who are afraid?
I really don't know. We do no harm after all. I used to think it was fear of the unknown, but I have introduced myself on occasion, and this unveiling apparently did nothing to calm their fears. I don't do that anymore. Words for them. Cowardy custard, perhaps.
It's the living that harm you, not the dead. Especially that Catherine and Beryl.
Hang on. I think he's talking about us.
Cheeky.
Thank you, Lady Felicity. Last question. Do you ever feel silly just talking to ghosts?
At least I don't talk to pigeons.
Fair point. Speaking of which, here's Josh with our final guests of the podcast.
I'm joined by the resident Lacey Street Studio pigeons. Either that or I'm having a funny turn. First, we hear from Walter and Mickey, then Lady P. They're joined by newcomer, Miss Maud the cat.
To all pigeons, what's a typical day of lockdown for a pigeon?
Well, the leavings from the takeaways have become more erratic. Less people equals less waste, I'm afraid. Even Saturdays don't guarantee a decent sausage roll left over anymore.
It's a bit boring. I've not seen my family in sunny Runny for ages.
Lady P, how are your family and friends?
Well, oh yes, I mean they are all locked up as they should be.
You mean locked down, my sweet?
No, I mean locked up.
Miss Mogg, how is life among the pigeons?
Meow. Living amongst the pigeons, my dear, is deliciously delightful. I do like to tease the pigeons. It keeps their little wings a-fluttering, and it keeps my appetite alive. Meow.
Did she say delicious?
Thank goodness for social distancing.
She needs a muzzle, not a mask.
Over the past few years, the pigeon family has grown. How has it been, and do you expect it to continue to grow?
Ooh la la!
Pardon me, my turtle dove, but surely, young man, you must have heard of the birds and the bees. We pigeons will prosper as we ever have. There's a fine young squadron just waiting in the wings, and their day will surely come.
I get the birds bit, but what do bees have to do with it?
And that's the sting in the tail, Mickey, my friend.
Well, that just about covers it. Thank you for listening to us today. This has been the Lacey Street Studio Talks.